My name's Dave, and in this video we'll be covering the mindful story from week 5 of the Reclaim Your Past, Reset Your Future series. And as every other mindful story in this series, this one is an excellent way of underpinning what we're trying to achieve and the theme of week 5, which is to be able to have a better understanding of our past. So it's called Change Your Past to Free Your Future. I came across this story in a podcast called This American Life, and it's called The Two Brothers. There were two brothers who had gone into their 80th year, and a son of one of the younger brother had convinced his father to make arrangements to meet his older brother, who he hadn't spoken to in nearly 30 years. Just a few Christmas cards, but very little contact. And as the two men met and spoke of old times and family members and mutual friends, it didn't take long before animosity started to arise again, because the younger brother had always resented and projected a lot of anger onto the older brother, because when they were very young, their mother had left the family home with the older boy, but the younger boy was left behind. Now, even though the mother wanted to take the younger boy, the father blocked it and wouldn't allow it, and she wasn't in a position to be able to make it happen. And as he spoke to the older brother, he started to realize that the reason they had left was because the father had been very aggressive towards the mother and the older boy, but never the younger boy. And when the mother and older brother had left, they never had much money, and life was very difficult for him growing up, and a real struggle. But the younger boy had had better opportunities, but had always felt rejected and felt defensive and angry about what had happened and feeling that he had been left behind. And of course, having that in his life affected every interaction he ever had. He always looked for the slight in things. He always was suspicious that people were looking down on him, and he had a lot of anger. But as he talked more and more with his older brother, and for the first time the older brother spoke of the fear that himself and the mother had, he started realizing that his older brother had been a victim as much as he had. And his older brother had no role in it other than being taken away, but that wasn't his choice. And as the younger brother sat in the car on the way home from the meeting, he started to realize that the way he had viewed his whole life had been through a lens of anger and of rejection. But that wasn't necessarily true at all. And this story is a great example of how we can all hold on to things in our past and often misunderstand our past and the people we come in contact with. And as we develop more compassion and understanding of ourselves and of others, it gives us much greater capacity to be able to reflect back and unburden ourselves of things that have caused us pain and suffering, and understand that if something isn't helpful to us, we can start learning to be able to free ourselves from that baggage and be able to move on. And the meditation in week 5 helps to achieve that. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you.